अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासते गौरभक्ता वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे, जय राधा गोविंद राधे। जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा, जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन, जय गौर नित्याय गौर नित्याय जय गौर नित्याय, जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा, जय जय प्रभुपाद जय शील प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव। श्रीमद श्याम सुंदर भगवान की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks, Hare. Actually, she is singing the same our tune what we used to sing in Balram Desh, Bahrain.
Bahrain.
Mataji was there for a long time. Bahrain, we are the same congregation. So that's nice.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mataji.
व्यामिष्पाद परमस परचकाचर स्तोत्र सदा स्मृति doing this. अभय चरण भक्ति तो स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापक श्रील प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय। व्यामिष्पाद परमस परचकाचर स्तोत्र सदा स्मृति भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि आचार्य वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय। गंगे में यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। All glories to assemble duties. All glories to assemble duties. All glories to assemble duties. All glories to all glories Sri Guru and Sri Gaur Premanandi. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome to all the devotees for today's Nityan Bhagavata Sevya session. Bhagavatam So we are taking from chapter Canto 3, then 15th chapter, verse 6 to 10. Krishna. So we'll begin with the prayers. Om Agdana Timran Dasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamaham Dadati Sudantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatha Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमस्तुते सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभांसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवयां भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। So we're reading from 3.15 shloka number 6. ये त्वान्येन भावेन भावयन्ति आत्मभावनम् आत्मनि प्रोत भुवनां परं सदसत् आत्मकम्। ये त्वान्येन भावेन भावयन्ति आत्मभावनम् आत्मनि प्रोत भुवनं परं सदसत् आत्मकम्। ये त्वान्येन भावेन भावयन्ति आत्मभावनम् आत्मनि प्रोत भुवनं परम सदसत् आत्मकम. Word by word meaning: ye, those who, tva, on you, ananyena, without deviation, bhavena, with devotion, bhavayanti, meditate, atma bhavanam, who generates all living entities, atmani, within yourself, prota, linked, bhuvanam, all the planets, param, the supreme, sat, effect, asat, cause, atmakam, generator. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, all these planets exist within yourself, and all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe, and anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service. So we'll go to the shloka number 7. So devotees can read the shloka, the translation, and the purport. Krishna.
Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji and Mataji. Tesham supakva yoganam jitasvasendriya atmanam labdha yusmat prasadhanam nakutsat chit parabhava. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thanks, Hare Krishna.
Shanti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Translation
Hare Krishna.
by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This history of the fight between the Lord as a boar and the demon Hiranyaksha was heard by me in a year long ago, as it was described by the foremost of the demigods Brahma when he was questioned by...
Mataji, it is not seventh one.
That's not the one, no?
Sixth.
I think a different chapter probably you are looking at. We are in the 3.15.
6.
6, 7 now.
Okay, I'll read from here, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. Okay. There is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process and who are therefore experienced mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. Sorry, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thanks, Harish.
Anasuya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The purpose of yogic performances is explained here. It is said that an experienced mystic attains full control of the senses and the mind by controlling the breathing process. Therefore, controlling the breathing process is not the ultimate aim of yoga. The real purpose of yogic performances is to control the mind and the senses. Anyone who has such control is to be understood to be experienced mature mystic yoga. It is indicated herein that a yogi who has control over the mind and senses has the actual benediction of the Lord, and he has no fear. In other words, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of the Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and the senses. This is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. A person whose senses and mind are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord has no possibility of engaging in material activities. The devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. It is stated, Narayana Paraha Sarve. One who is Narayana Para or a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not afraid anywhere, whether he is sent to hell or promoted to heaven. Bhagavatam 6.17.28. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thanks, Mataji. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Yeah, so we are in this 15th chapter in the 3rd canto. So this is the title, Description of the Kingdom of God. Actually, if we go to the previous chapter, we came across how Diti was overpowered by her senses, and the pregnancy of Diti happened, that too in the evening time, where it was not an auspicious time. And as per the Shastrik or the Kala Nirnay, so this time was considered inauspicious, and then that is the reason why she had to produce two demonic personalities. So that was the setting. And now here, the further talks of Maitreya and Vidura is going on, and we understand from the shloka number 2, by the force of pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon was impaired in all the planets, and the demigods of various planets being disturbed by that force asked the creator of the universe, Brahma, what is this expansion of darkness in all directions? So all the other demigods who were there, they started asking, questioning, because it was so dark, and the ominous, the ominous, or what to call, the portents were not very good. I mean, it was not a very conducive atmosphere. There was a lot of kind of a darkness or a violence kind of a situation, and then people were really agitated by this birth, which is going to happen. And it is also, they were expecting that a lot of disturbance will happen. And because of that, although Diti came to know, because Kashyapa explained that this is not the time and you have done this, this is a blunder. But then later on, she repented, and then she continuously bore that powerful semen of Kashyapa Muni, which was given to trouble to others for 100 years. So she waited for about 100 years, so that, thinking that, she can protect the citizens. So that was her mercy. But then as the providence is there, so she had to release it, and then the birth had to take place. So now here Brahma is asked the question by all the demigods, and then we understand how the demigods are treating Brahma, and how they are glorifying Brahma, because according to the demigods, they have understood that Brahma, since he is the creator in charge of the creation in this material world, although he is a secondary creator, but they are not fully aware that there is somebody superior to him. So they are under that understanding that, yeah, you are the one who created. So they're asking him as to what is that cause of it, and what is the result of it, and how you are going to protect us. So that, I think, probably was covered yesterday. And so in the previous yesterday shlokas, O original source of strength and scientific knowledge, all obeisance unto you. You have accepted the differentiated mode of passion from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, the shloka tells that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, he is only thing is he is accept the differentiated mode of passion. Under the mode of passion, for all the Rajoguna people who are under the Rajoguna, for them, he is the Supreme Controller. Like we understand that as per the Guna Avatara, of Krishna, the Guna avatars are the three, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and each one of them have got a responsibility of taking care of the gunas. So like now we understood that in this shloka, that Brahma is the caretaker of all the living entities under the Rajogun. So he is the one who is taking care. And then we have Shiva in the mode of ignorance, tamas, and Vishnu in the mode of goodness. So like this, it has been already bifurcated, that we understand, their designated roles. So now they're asking, with the help of this external energy, you are born of the unmanifested source, all obeisances unto you. So here Prabhupada also gives this explanation that although it says that he's unmanifested, but it is unmanifested because we are not able to see. So here Prabhupada very clearly says, therefore Brahma is the original source of all scientific knowledge source, but the knowledge has been given to Brahma by Krishna. As in the first shloka of the Bhagavatam itself, it says, Janmadhyasya itaraschartyasva bignasarat tene brahma hudaye adikaviye muhyanti atsureya. So like that, tene brahma hudaye. So unto that original, the first person, Adikavi is considered Adikavi. So he is given that knowledge of the Veda by the Lord. So he is born directly from the transcendental body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is never seen by any creature of this material universe, and therefore always remain unmanifested. Because we are not able to see the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu or how all this has happened. So that's why he is unmanifested. Otherwise, it is to be concluded. Brahma is stated there here to be born of unmanifested. So we have to conclude that because we are unable to see, it is mentioned here. Otherwise, they are manifested, of course, the course of creation, they're already there, but only for our limited senses, it is not visible. Now, in this shloka, in the sixth shloka, O Lord, of all this planet exists within yourself, and all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe, and anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service. So they are glorifying Brahmaji, that even if we pray to you, or if we do some seva service, you are the one who are going to give us the devotional service. I mean, you are going to direct us, because as we understand that all the demigods, whatever we offer even to the demigods, all the demigods are doing is that they are offering it back to Krishna. So that way the result will go and then it will come from Krishna only. So this is what it's mentioned here. And then the shloka number 7, there is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process, or therefore experience mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. So again, there is a glorification here for those devotees or the mature mystics. Now, one thing we need to understand, Prabhupada also gives this example that why Brahma is glorified here. As far as the demigods are concerned, they should actually, since they are the servitors of Krishna, but still they are glorifying Brahma. But of course, it's a very limited, up to limited capacity. So Prabhupada gives that example in another instance, in another purport, that is like a child when he's going on the street, and then he finds that there is a traffic police or a sub-inspector is there. And then when the father speaks to the police sub-inspector, and because he's controlling at that moment, the traffic is controlling, and he's raising challans, somebody is making a mistake, he's fining them. So it looks that as if he's the entire controller. He's in charge of that matter or that responsibility. So the child thinks that, oh, he's, if I want to get anything on the traffic department, if I approach this person, I can get it done. So the child thinks like that. But actually, the child doesn't know that this sub-inspector is actually reporting to a higher authority, to a commissioner or to another senior person. And that commissioner is probably reporting to the other higher authority. And then finally, it goes to the governor. So like this, there is a hierarchy, which the child may not know. The child may think that the power is limited here. So in that way, demigods are also praising here, because to that extent they are aware, and then they are glorifying. At the same time, it is always incumbent that a person always praises the immediate boss, correct? Even in the office or even in our spiritual practice also, whoever is your immediate authority, so he is also respected, he is also glorified. So that same attitude is continued here. So although it's a limited controlling capacity. So that is what is mentioned here. And in the 7th shloka, as we understand, that this is actually for the mature mystics, as the shloka itself says, because doing a dhyana yoga and even the Ashtanga yoga or something where the focus is on controlling the breathing process, controlling the senses and the mind. So this yogic performance is not so easy. So if anybody is able to do that, then even he can get the benediction of the Lord. But it's a very 1 in a million chance, because the mind and senses are so terrible. They're, Bhagavad Gita says that they're like the all-devouring enemy, and also that they are like the snakes. The snake is always, is always defending itself, and the slightest of the disturbance it notices, immediately it will bite. It will open its fangs and it will bite. So the snake cannot be controlled. But a perfect snake charmer, by using the instrument, the wind instrument, he can control the snake, and he can keep it in his control. So like that, for a person to do this yogic practice, it is not so easy. In fact, you would have seen so many yogis doing different types of yogic postures, and they stick to certain rules and regulations. For example, somebody staying in the water and then doing some meditation. Somebody is standing on one leg. Somebody is buried in the sand, probably in a very in a beach area or some a sea beach area where the sand becomes so hot, but still they're able to do this. I mean, these are kind of their very eccentric vows they take. In fact, I had seen one Baba in Prayag when the Kumbh Mela had taken place. He had tied his hand. He had kept his hand on the top and tied it to the pole, and his right hand is always tied. So I don't know what benefit they get, what siddha or what benefit or the siddhis they get, but they do like this, and by doing that, they try to they think that they're pleasing the Lord. But what is important is that mind and senses cannot be controlled. It can only be diverted. You can only divert the attention of the mind and senses from materialistic temporary things to transcendental things, or a transcendental or related to the devotional practices. So only that can be done. We cannot control the mind and senses because it is very very fluctuating, very flickering, and the more you try to control, it may actually break. Like, for example, you have a stick, and if you are trying to bend the stick, it can bend up to certain extent, to the extent of its elasticity. The more you try to bend, it might break, correct? The stick will break. So like that, we have seen that in case of so many mystic yogis and people who perform so much of austerities, they are not able to control their mind. Classic case is that of Vishwamitra, who did his penance for about 60,000 years, and finally Menaka had come, and then she broke his penance, and then he was attracted to her. So like this, it's not so easy unless one has that understanding or one has that knowledge of not controlling the mind, but the knowledge that the mind cannot be controlled, but it can be engaged in fully in Krishna consciousness. That's what Prabhupada also says. In other words, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and senses. So that is there. You have to control mind and senses. That is one of the aspects, even for a bhakta also. But a person whose senses and mind are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord has no possibility of engaging material activities. So it's a very, very clear cut. Either you stay in the spiritual realm or you stay in the material realm. Or even if you're in the material realm, or like how we all of us are in the material realm, but we're trying to engage our senses. We are trying to do mostly spiritual activities and not much into materialistic, how the materialistic people are doing. So that way we are diverting our attention. So by doing that, the contact, material contamination, the contact, the more you reduce, the more you can stay spiritual. So that is a very, very important aspect, which is explained in 2.40 Bhagavad Gita, that Vishya Vinivartante, Niraharasya Dehina, Rasopyarjam, Rasovarjam, Param Drishtva Nivartate. So it's very important that Param Drishtva Nivartate. So we should seek for the higher taste, the higher goal. Then only you can probably get into this and stay in the spiritual mode. Otherwise, there's so much of metal bombardment in this today's world. The Maya Shakti is so potent that it is very difficult for us to come out. Yeah. So there is a question: what yoga is referred here, Prabhu? Bhakti yoga only? No. Yeah. Actually the yoga what is mentioned here, the mature mystic yoga, is actually the dhyana yoga, or the Ashtanga yoga, basically, where people want to practice this eight stages of Ashtanga yoga. As we know, that it is
Dhyana,
starting
dharana,
from,
all that, Prabhuji.
yeah.
Dhyana, dharana, asana.
Yeah. The actually the starting concept, the 8 limbs are there. How this yoga practice can be done, which is actually was Patanjali was the one who introduced, and but today unfortunately it has been totally watered down, diluted. It starts with yama. Yama is actually abstaining your senses. You are controlling your senses by you're not even taking probably your food or your water or some kind of a abstinence that you don't want to enjoy to your senses. So you are trying to control your senses. Normally we eat, we drink. Why? Because we have to please our senses. The senses are asking for it, and if you have to maintain our body, we have to do that. But only thing is, what the Bhakti Yogi does is he offers it to Krishna and then takes it. So with that, it becomes prasad. So there is no karma. There is no papa and punya attached to it, because it is offered to Krishna. So that is important. Then niyama is observing some very, very important rules and regulations. So they will say, I will go to the forest, I will probably stay in a cold condition or in a hot condition. So some observance they will do, some niyama means they'll lay out their own rules and regulations, and they will continue. I will wake up whole night, or I will stand in the sun, or I will bury myself in the sand. So like this, some niyama. Then asana, they'll go for meditation, means they'll sit in a position, and then they go for pranayama, the breathing, which is explained here. The breathing, actually, the life air is controlled. It has again 5 kinds of pana, apana, like this. So 5 stages of movement of this life air. That also they do. Then pratyahara, completely withdrawal of the senses and the mind. They are completely become like statues. Then that means their body is not actually working. Then dharana, concentration. Then dhyana, meditation, the real intense meditation. Then samadhi, which is complete absorption. But the most important thing here, what is lacking here, is that they are doing all this by meditating upon some other aspect, not Krishna. What is mentioned as per the rules and regulations of the Ashtanga Yoga is that they should mention they meditate into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But unfortunately, most of them ignore that, and they'll fall down. So similarly, today we do the watered down version of the yoga with so many yogic asanas and body bending exercise. But that is all for the physical body maintenance, to keep your body fit. And of course, there is a benefit, but it is only up to that level. It is not, you cannot go into samadhi where you can enjoy in the leelas of the Lord. I mean, that is the highest samadhi, where you can actually enter into the spiritual world and enter into the Golok Vrindavan and then enjoy the leela. So that is the highest samadhi. But unfortunately, since they are not concentrating or meditating on Krishna, they will fall down. So like this is that Ashtanga Yoga, which is actually not recommended for us. So Prabhupada, that's why I never said that we should be doing this. But if you are doing this, controlling of or engaging your senses in Krishna consciousness, that is the best practice, like how it was mentioned in the 2.40, Param Drushpa Nivartate. And here, in the finally, Prabhupada also gives here that confidence to the devotee that the devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. So by doing the Bhakti Yoga, following the principles of Bhakti Yoga, where there is emotion and devotion, so you will not fall down because you are actually taking shelter of the Lord. It is stated Narayana Para Sarve. So Narayana Para means becoming a devotee of the Supreme Lord. He is not afraid anywhere, whether he is sent to hell or promoted to heaven. So that's a very, very famous shloka, Bhagavatam 6.17.28, which talks about this. This is a very important shloka. This actually was said by Yamaraj to his or to all his to the Yamadutas, and this happened during the pastime of Ajamila, when they had to bring the soul of Ajamila, and by that time, when he was about to be captured by the Yamaduta, since Ajamila chanted his son's name Narayana, so immediately, since he called Narayana, Yamadutas came at that spot, and they said that since he has chanted the holy name at the time of his death, so we are going to take his soul. So like that, they take him. And then when they go and then Vishnuduta, Yamaduta, both of them go to Yamaraj to find a solution. So at that point of time, so here Yamaraj is giving this verdict: Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Oh no, not this. I think I came to the wrong. Second. Six 17:28.
Suma Mataji, you can click on the link.
Yeah. So the shloka is like this: Narayana Parasarve Nakudaschana Bibhyati Swarga Pavarga Narakeshva Api Thulyartha Darshinaha. So this here it is mentioned, devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of Supreme Personality of Lord Narayana never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Incidentally, this actually was spoken by Shiva to Parvati. So this he is telling very clearly that how people who are devotees of the Lord, it doesn't matter for them where they are going to serve. They are not afraid because they know that the Lord is going to take care. Even if they are in the heavenly planets or in the in the hellish planets, it doesn't matter because they are going to be engaged in the service of the Lord, and Lord will take care of them. So like that, this is a very significant shloka which is explaining about Narayana Para Sarve. So that the moment you are a devotee of the Lord, Narayana or Krishna, then you are guaranteed. You don't worry. Like ours is a preaching mission. So Prabhupada also has quoted several times that when he was in his initial stages of making devotees, and when he was doing the practice, when he was doing the preaching, and especially in the Western world, there are so many disciples he had to meet. and so many people he had to meet. Most of them were either drug addicts or very hardcore, on a kind of a criminal background. So many things were there, but because Prabhupada was a pure devotee, they were completely given the mercy. Prabhupada gave his unlimited mercy to them, and they all got transformed. And so that time he was telling that I had to face all this kind of situation. So many people insulted him. In fact, there was one drug addict who created a ruckus. Prabhupada had to pack his bags and then go out of that flat because he was so high and he was becoming so violent. Prabhupada was afraid, but then he had to do that. And then finally he went to another devotee's house and stayed there. And so like that, he had to face so much of difficulty. So that time when Prabhupada was telling that devotees are sometimes put to such a condition, but since our shelter is the Supreme Lord, His holy name, and the devotees, and preaching is the mission. So for us, it doesn't matter. Even if you are sent to the hell, the devotee is sent to the hell, and then he's asked to live there. What he will do? He will just take to Krishna consciousness, chant holy name, and then do the preaching. Or if he's going to the heaven also, there also he might do the same thing, and then he will convert the devotees. So the classic example is that when Haridas Thakur, we know that Haridas Thakur is our the Acharya for the chanting of the holy name, and he is an incarnation of Brahma. At the same time, partial incarnation of Prahlad also, because he was chanting. Although he was born in a Mohammedan family, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always considered him as the Namacharya because he was completely chanting. We know that how many rounds he was doing? About 192 rounds. That is almost 22 hours in a day. He was engaged in chanting the holy name. So, and as we know that the Qazi and the current ruler there, Hussain Shah, and all of them were very, very envious of him. So they wanted to punish him because they considered that Gaudiya land, Bengal land, as theirs. It is the land of Allah. So you cannot chant, your Krishna, holy Vishnu's name and all that. So they were under that mentality, and they wanted to stop him. And but Haridas Thakur was never stopping. He was always chanting. So they punished him. They bet him in almost 22 marketplaces. At each place they used to go thrash him, and then they used to make his body black and blue by whipping him or by hitting in the canes. So like that they were doing. But at each of the places, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming and protecting him. And he was actually, it appeared that he was getting hit, but he was always protected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And, he didn't have to suffer that much. And then finally he was put into the jail. When in the jail also, there were so many culprits, so many criminals. So the Haridas Thakur even was doing the same thing in the jail also. What he was doing, he was chanting the bag, he was using the chanting bag, and he was chanting, and he was loudly chanting, and he was talking to so many people there, and trying to preach to them and trying to transform them. And most of them were also started chanting along with him. So then that message got to the ears of Hussain Shah, and then he was mesmerized. He was shocked. Oh, what is this? Actually, we are trying to curb him, his activities, his spiritual activities. He should not preach. He should always think of Allah, but he's going in his own way. So the purpose of jailing him, imprisoning him, is not helping. And then finally, he came to a conclusion that there is no point in dealing with this, imprisoning him. Let us leave him. Let us free him. Then finally, they had to release him. So like this, for devotee, it doesn't matter where he is situated. But of course, we are not in that stage where we can take so much of pain and misery. But exalted devotees, Nitya Siddhas, they can always do this. Prabhupada also had to take so much of trouble. And if anyone was in his position, they would have, simply said, no, why I have to take all this trouble? Let me sit in Vrindavan, and a very cozy place. A nice temple is there. Radha Damodar is there. And all the devotees are there. I'm getting, nice association. Why I should go to America? Why I should struggle? And they would have left it. But Prabhupada was not like that. He actually wanted to uplift so many devotees, millions and millions of devotees. And that was the Vaishnava attitude, paradukha dukhi, and he was most compassionate to all the living entities. And that is how, even by taking his own trouble for his own body, mind and soul, but he delivered. Now that's why today Prabhupada is so much glorified, and he is so much revered all over the world. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the next shloka, 8 shloka. Yeah, there is also example of Gopi and Narada Muni, where there also the gopis showed their love to Krishna, and they are prepared to go to the hell, because the incident was that the message was that Krishna was suffering from a headache, and for that headache, what is the medicine? The medicine is that the devotee should give their dust of the lotus feet. And the message, Narada Muni, of course, it's all the Leela of the Lord. So Narada Muni went to so many devotees. He went to Shiva, he went to Brahma, he went to so many kings, but none of them were, in a position to give their dust. They thought that, oh, how can we give our dust? If we give our dust, it will be like demeaning or degrading. My dust is very, very ordinary stuff. And how can that cure, Krishna's headache? I think you must be joking. We cannot believe that this will happen. So like that, they were refusing, because they were treating him in a hierarchy, that Lord is, our superior, the Lord is our benefactor. And if I do that, it will be degrading for me. And if I, at the end, Narada Muni had also told, if you don't give this, or if you give this, that that you by giving this dust of the lotus feet, the result is Lord will get cured, but you will go to the hellish planet, Naraka. So most of them rejected that idea. No, we cannot give. We will not go to the, we will not do such a thing. We are not prepared to go to the hellish planet. But when Narada Muni went to the gopis did not bother. They did not even, twinkle their eyes. They did not even blink their eyes. They simply said, oh my God. What was their concern was that Krishna was in a headache. Krishna was suffering. They did not want to tolerate. They could not tolerate Krishna suffering. So what they said, immediately they said that no problem, even if we go to the hellish planet, no problem, but we want to see that our Krishna is happy. So they gave the dust of the lotus feet. So that is the example which was there, and somebody had commented here in the chat. Haribol. Yeah, we'll go to the shloka number 8.
Shilpa Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yasya vacha prajaः sarva gavastanyeva yantritaha yaranti haranti bali mayattas tasmai mukhyaya te namaha. Translation by His Grace Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All the living entities within the universe are conducted by the Vedic directions, as a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. To the chief person who has contributed the Vedas, we offer our respect. Mataji,
Yes.
should I read the purport or somebody is reading?
Mataji, Divya Mataji will read.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Purport. While Vedic literature, more than one teachers who wants real benefit in life must according to the directions of the Vedic conditioned souls who have come to this material world for material sense gratifications are regulated by the injunctions of the Vedic literature. Sense gratification is just like salt. One not take too much or too little, but one must take some salt in order to make one's foodstuff palatable. Those conditioned souls who have come to this material world should utilize their senses according to the directions of the Vedic literature. Otherwise, they will put into a more miserable condition of life. No human beings or demigods can enact laws like those of the Vedic literature because of the Vedic regulations are prescribed by the Supreme Lord itself. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna Mataji. No problem. So, further glorification is here. In this, they are mentioning that everything what is living entities are governed by this Vedic direction. And since Brahmaji represents the Vedic, he was the first one who gave the Vedas, so he is revered here, and they have compared him like a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. How the bull is tamed or controlled by the rope. Like that, you are controlling us, and you are giving us the direction. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literature. The chief person who has contributed to the Vedas, we offer our respect. And in the purport, Prabhupada gives the first sentence: the Vedic literature are the laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, whatever Lord has given, that Veda, so that is the one which is going to which all the living entities have to follow. Just like how the state or a country has its own laws, and the law is given by say the Constitution, and the Constitution can have so many other laws for each and every aspect. It could be for the traffic, it could be for the for an income tax, it could be for a Companies Act. So many acts, so many laws are further framed. And as Prabhupada also gives that example, that the king makes the law, and now the king may not be present at each of these offices. It could be a municipality office, it could be a planning office, it could be a finance ministry, wherever it is. But there are designated officers, the ministers, or under them, there's so many IAS officers or IPS officers, whoever it is, that the people who are authorized, they are the ones who are actually doing the governance. So once the law is laid out, the Lord need not be there at each of the places, but by his delegation of the powers, the laws are enforced, and any document signed by that approved authority will stay. Suppose somebody says that after on 22nd of January, because Ram Mandir is being inaugurated in Ayodhya, so it has to be declared a holiday, national holiday or a state holiday. So the information can be given either from the chief minister, or it could be coming from the one of the ministers from the culture or tourism affairs, or whoever it is. So whoever signs, if he has the authority, and it can be implemented. So like that, he need not be present, but because he has made the law, and it is incumbent on the citizens to follow the law. So the same way, Lord has given this law, the basic guideline is given, and he has given various ministers, various authorized persons to enforce it. So once it is signed by them, the law will be enacted. It need not be said that the king has to come there and he has to do the affairs. So just by the law book itself, everybody will follow. And his the person who is signing is having almost the same authority as that of a king. So like that, Prabhupada. So under that circumstance, I was telling that that shloka which I was referring, when it comes to the Yamadutas, and when he gave that very famous shloka, Yamaraj gave that Dharmatu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. So what is that religious principle? The most effective or the most powerful religious principle is that is which is given by the Lord. If what is given by the Supreme Lord, given directly by the Supreme Lord, that is the one which everybody has to follow or enacted. Pranitam, Bhagavat Pranitam means that can be that is enactable, because he has given the law and it has to be enacted. So in that he says that Imraj is telling that real religious principles are enacted with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although fully situated in the mode of goodness, even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planets cannot ascertain the real religious principles, nor can the demigods or the leaders of Siddha Loka, to say nothing of the asuras, ordinary human beings, Vidyadharas or Charanas. So he's telling that other people who are in the maybe having a great position of a rishi, muni, or maybe well versed, maybe a demigod, but still they cannot frame that kind of a law, what the Lord is capable. So that way they're highlighting here the supremacy of the law. And Prabhupada further mentions in that one cannot violate the injunctions given in the Vedic literatures any more than one can violate the state laws. Any living creature who wants real benefit in life must act according to the direction of the Vedic literature. The conditioned souls who have come to this material world for material sense gratification are regulated by the injunctions of the Vedic literature. So the moment we have come to this material world, there is a law which is governing here, which is actually the law of karma in simple terms. So this law of karma is going to impact each and one of us. So if you do a good job, good deed, you will get punya, pious credit. If you do a bad job, bad deed, you will get papa. So what Krishna, that's why advises in Bhagavad Gita is that you should do the karma. Karma is actually the good deeds. The vikarma is actually the bad deeds. So Lord indicates in the 3rd chapter that we should do akarma. Akarma is actually the one where you will not get impacted by the modes of nature or the resulted actions. The result will not be affecting you. It will not be bonding you in this material world. Since it is akarma, which is a pure transcendental nature of the job, since it's a devotional practice, devotional service unto Krishna. So Krishna is not going to give that karmic effect. He's going to consider this as your spiritual. He will going to add to your spiritual account. So that akarma should be our goal. And Prabhupada also talks about that salt, how a little salt in the food will also not give you the taste. If it is more also, it'll probably worsen the taste. So we just need to take as much salt is required. So how he's comparing that to the sense gratification. So since we are all living entities bounded by these senses, so we have to have the sense gratification is very much there, imminent in us, but it should be regulated and it should be as much what is almost required. If you do more, then if somebody wants to eat 1 kilo of Mysore pak made of pure ghee, how much he can release? Maybe about it may come out 20-30 pieces. He might start eating, and then he might see the pleasure, or he'll enjoy his taste for about maybe 2nd piece or 3rd piece of Mysore pak. Beyond a point, he cannot. But there are so many people who do it as a challenge, and then they try to eat, and then finally they'll land up in the hospital. So many competitions are there like that in today's world also. And then and there is a competition of eating the chilies, the red hot chilies, Mexican chilies, Italian chilies, and then people do that. Ultimately they will land up. Maybe some people might have, their bodies might be made, they might be having some kind of a siddhi that they can withstand that chili portion, but ultimately it is all going to affect their health. So Prabhupada says that so those conditioned souls who have come to this material world should utilize the senses according to direction of the Vedic literature. Otherwise, they'll be put into a more miserable condition of life. No human being or demigod can enact laws like those of the Vedic literature, because the Vedic regulations are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is highlighting that whatever Lord has made, the law book, that is the one which is the supreme authority, and that should be followed. And as we understand this, the Vedas are such a great source of wisdom, that there is no other scripture, or there is no other text which can match. And for as far as we in the Sanatana Dharma is concerned, for us, all these literatures, it's all considered as Vedas, as the source, as the knowledge in other terms. And these are all called apaurushaya. That means it is all not given by human being. It is actually given by the Supreme Lord, transcendental vision. He has shared it so that we can lead our life in a more peaceful manner and achieve our goal of life. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to the 9th shloka.
Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat
Yeah,
Pranam.
Dandat.
Satvam vidithatsva sambhumam tamasa lupta karmanam adhabradayaya drishtya apannanat hasi chitum. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The demigods prayed to Brahma, please look upon us mercifully, for we have fallen into a miserable condition because of the darkness. All our work has been suspended. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji.
Very good.
Hare Krishna. Suma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Because of complete darkness throughout the universe, the regular activities and engagements of all different planets were suspended. In the north and south poles of this planet, there are sometimes no divisions of the day and night. Similarly, when the sunlight does not approach the different planets within the universe, there is no distinction between day and night. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. Very good. So demigods further they're praying to Brahma that please show us your mercy, because we are unable to fathom this. What is this darkness? Why it has come all over, and all our work has been suspended. That we are completely become immobile. So they are trying to take his help. And as Prabhupada also gives that there is darkness in many places. So, for example, in the southern pole, there is always darkness. Almost, I think, 5 to 6 months in a year, the South Pole is completely in darkness because the sun rays cannot reach there. Whereas in the North Pole, the opposite happens, where the sun is always there, seen. There is no darkness light at all. For example, if somebody goes to Oslo, Norway, which is on the in the highest in the northern hemisphere, almost on the edge of the surface of the earth. So there, the sun is there all the 24 hours, especially in the summer. So almost for 3 to 4 months in Oslo, you will find only sun. So my cousin who used to go, he was a space scientist, so he used to go for these places as a part of his work. So he used to tell us that when they have to if you have to go for dinner, so they have to see the watch, and by seeing the watch, they have to think, oh, now it is night time. And even if they have to sleep, because actually it's a daylight, so they'll most of the hotels will have a curtain, the normal curtain, plus there is also a blackened curtain, the black cloth. So they have to use that and make the room dark, and then they have to go for sleep. Otherwise, it is not possible. Because the moment they open the window or they look out of the window, it is like a bright day. So entire 24 hours are like that because of the nature, because how this Earth globe is situated. Hare Krishna. Yeah, we'll go to the 10th shloka.
Navkishori Mataji. Navkishori Mataji, you read the shloka. Chintamani Prabhu will read translation. Krishnamurti Prabhu read purport.
Mataji, thank you. Dandot Pranam Mataji. एषदेवादिते गर्भ ओजः काश्यपम् अर्पितं मीरयन् सर्वावदते अग्नि वैसी. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी.
Yeah, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. As fuel overloads a fire, so the embryo created by the semen of Kashyapa in the womb of Diti has caused complete darkness throughout the universe. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport by Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki Jai. The darkness throughout the universe is explained herewith as being caused by the embryo created in the womb of Diti by the semen of Kashyapa. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so that analogy is given, how the darkness, it all is happened, the darkness in the world, the gloominess in the world, or very ominous portents, or very bad events are taking place Why? Because the semen has entered the womb, and now it is actually covering the whole earth. Because in the next sequence of that is that what a catastrophe it creates, how much of devastation, how much of the wrong things are getting happening with the arrival of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So that is being mentioned here. So Bhagavatam is giving that kind of an analogy. Hare Krishna. So with that, we'll end today's session. And very important thing I would like to highlight when it comes to the Yamaraj's instructions, in that so there is a glorification of the holy name. I'll just quote a few of them. It's just for our understanding what Yamaraj is talking about. Yeah. So in this chapter 6.3 and shloka number 12, Yamaraj said, "My dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestation of his personality are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of a woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose." So this is the verdict of Yamaraj. He's telling that, and I'm just correlating the same how we discussed initially, how Brahma was being glorified as the supreme, but actually he's not the supreme. This shloka number is 6.3.12. So even Yamaraj is telling the same thing. So we can see how Bhagavatam is giving in different contexts, in the different personalities, how they are coming to the same aspect. 6.3.12. Yeah. I'll go to the translation there, Mataji. Yeah. So he's telling, like I also gave the example of the police inspector, the child's understanding of the police inspector, but actually there is a higher authority which he doesn't know. So because of his limited information. So he's telling what Yamaraj is telling, above me, and above all the demigods, including Indra, Chandra, all of them are there. And the Gunavatara, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are there because they are having designated duties and they are controlling. But a person of limited knowledge will think, oh, Shiva is the supreme. Oh, Vishnu is, somebody will say, so Vishnu is the supreme. Oh, no, Brahma is supreme. But actually, in reality, for that also there is a pastime. We know that the pastime where Bhrugumuni was asked to go to the three worlds, that is Shivaloka and Brahmaloka and Vaikuntaloka, and then he was supposed to test. So when he went to Shiva, Shiva was actually with his consort Parvati, and they did not pay attention to him. And then he was cursed by Bhrugumuni. What is the curse he gave? Bhrugumuni said that since you have ignored me, I called you, I came, you never invited me, you never greeted me, and you are involved in your own amorous pastimes, so I'll curse you. If you will not be worshipped in the Bhuloka in your own form, in your original form, but you'll be worshipped as a linga form. And when it comes to Brahma, he was also engrossed by listening to Saraswati's Veena, and he was completely engrossed there, enjoying that music. But Bhrigu Muni was very upset, and he was also because he was not given that initial warm welcome, so he cursed him that you'll not.
Prabhu, you are on mute.
Right to be worshipped your form. So that is why there is no temple of Brahma, or there is no worship of Brahma happening in this material world, Bhuloka. But of course, in Pushkar, there is this Brahma temple is there. But of course, that is actually just one of the exception. And there also it is only one set of people of some lineage, they come and worship. So like that. But when it came to Vishnu, Vaikuntha Loka, and Vishnu also was again with the same with Lakshmi, he was enjoying, and he was, they were in their pastimes. And when he came, and then he saw that Vishnu also didn't, give him attention. So what he did was, he came and cursed that, Lakshmi, who is always staying in your Rakshasthala, should go to Bhuloka, and she should suffer there. And both of you will be separated. And that is how Lakshmi had to come. And he came and kicked actually Vishnu's chest, where Lakshmi's place is there. And Lakshmi got offended that your devotee who did this to you, and you tolerated this, but I am not able to understand this, and I'm upset by this. But I will now go to the material world, Bhuloka. Like that, she came here, and then she settled in today's which is that place in Maharashtra, the Kolhapur. So Kolhapur, Lakshmi came and she did her penance. And Vishnu, he came to Tirupati in search of Lakshmi. And then he stayed in Tirupati. So then he finally became Srinivasa, Venkateshwara. So like that, this is the pastime where we can understand how the Guna avatars also are partially, they are also, when they come to the material world, they also behave, or they also enact as if they are also like the same individuals. But as the devotees, we have to understand that it is all part of the pastime, and they're just doing a drama and enacting a play for the pleasure of the Lord. So like this, and then he's like the two threads to form the length and breadth of one cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by the rope in its nose. So this is the analogy that is given, and we call that as Mugdara. I think it is called Nasbandi or something also in Hindi. So like that, how a bull can be controlled by the rope, and only then it can be tamed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Bol.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Prabhuji, here Diti and Kashyapa has to, because it is also sin, no, Prabhu, they also suffered, Prabhu, for this act.
Suffer in the sense, I mean, it is not that they had to, what you can say, that it is actually an act of the providence. But it is revealing to us as if they did something. But as we see, even Diti also lamented that she should not have done this. And Kashyapa, of course, he is a great devotee, exalted devotee of the Lord, and he knew what is going to be the consequences. So he was, in his own way, pacifying her, and also he was, in this. And he was quite maintained his equilibrium. He knew that this had to happen, and it is by the act of the providence. And but we cannot say that it is as a suffering. But of course, there will be some element, since they are in the bodily platform, there will be some element of their suffering as well, which is not much revealed. So they knew that they were doing an act which was forbidden, but still they did it, and the resultant, the karmic effect was there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, then Pranam.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, Vedic direction is compared, and the bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. I was just looking at the picture, how bull is carrying the cart, It's so painful to look at, Prabhuji. Why it is like that? The bull is controlled by the rope that is inserted in the nose. It is so painful.
Otherwise, how are you going to tame the animal? See, for example, bull or even a cow for that matter, both of them, if you see, it is called that mugdara. And that is how the creation is there. That those the nose, the nostrils are actually very soft tissues, and the slightest of the pull, the farmer, the agriculturist, or the one who is taming that animal, the slightest pull he does, it actually pains the animal and it stops. Otherwise, bulls are actually very, very powerful animal. Their anger, it's very difficult to control their anger, when they're in their, moods. So now how do we control that? You cannot hold its leg or hold its body. It is so powerful. So that is how, nature, God has made this as, the nostrils, and then so that it can be tamed, it can be controlled. Because at the end of the day, you have to use the bull for tilling your land, and you have to use the cow for getting the milk. And if they are going berserk, I mean, you're not able to control them, you will not be probably employing it for the right purpose, as for what is meant for. And at the end of the day, they are animals. You cannot talk to them, you cannot make them understand, you cannot give them a sermon, right? So this is the way of controlling, and that's how the part of the nose also is like that. It's that's how the animals can be tamed and it can be held up. And then in our common parlance also, we use that word. We call it mugdara, and I think in Hindi it is nasbandi, right? What is it? Is it nakbandi or something? Anyone has heard that? So that is also mentioned. So that if someone has to be, if the wife, I mean, if the mother wants to control the child, then they say that, oh, mugdara hakbeku. So if you have to control the child, mother will say that, you should keep some, means or method of taming or, keeping your child under control. Hare Krishna.
Which means, Prabhuji, following the Vedic literature is also painful, right?
No, this is just one part of it. See, at the end of the day, animals are, again, as I told you, they cannot speak, dumb animals. But at the same time, we need to use that animals, right, for the right cause. If you left to go it astray, then the animal is not put to productive use, right? So we have to make use of it, but in order to control, we have to do this. For example, if you have seen a lion or a tiger, which is controlled by in the circus by the what you call him as he's used a separate word in the circus. We see that they tame that. Why? How it is possible?
Ringman.
The conductor.
Ringman.
Yeah, the ringman. How is able to do that? He is able to do that because from the birth, from that early age, when it is birth, at that young age itself, they are given the training, and that they're not offered any meat, or they're not allowed to go wander like a wild animal. If suppose the same lion, the cub, was living in a forest, if you had to eat, if you had to get his food, if you had to do its defending, it will go wild and it will use all its claws and its teeth in getting preying the animal. But that instinct of preying is curbed by taming. And since in the circus it is all tamed by keeping them in a closed circuit, so actually the animal forgets its real capacity, that it also is ferocious. It can go and attack an animal, it can prey. All those things are curbed. So the animal thinks that I am a tame animal. I have to just follow as per my master. My master gives me food and I have to do this. I have to do this act. So that is the way our psychology, it's a mind play. And similarly for the elephant, for that matter, elephant is such a rampaging animal. When it gets wild, and especially when it eats the sugarcane, and sugarcane actually contains alcohol. We know that, right? And that alcohol, when it actually gets, alcohol doesn't come immediately, the sugarcane, it actually ferments. After the fermentation, it becomes alcohol. And the moment the alcohol starts playing into the body of the elephant, it will become a wild, mad animal. It's almost like a drunken animal. Who can control it? Then it will go all into the villages and into the farms, and it can destroy the crops. But the same elephant, right from its early age, it is tamed by a mahout, correct? And it is used in a temple, in a Guruvayur or Udupi, so many places we have seen that how such a powerful animal is being tamed and it is used for the Lord's service. So can we say that it is a wrong thing? No, they are getting its share. And tied in chains, correct? So it is actually forgotten its ability that it can also go on a rampage. It can actually do so much of damage. But it is that's how the psychology plays, and it is getting tamed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, all living entities
are
all controlled by the Supreme Lord only. Is it not,
yes.
Prabhuji? Then
Yes.
how the Supreme Lord has planned to control all the living entities in different ways. One animal takes one.
That is why it's called Supreme Lord.
This is a miracle. How he has planned and programmed, and everything is under his control only.
Yes.
And every living entities are controlled by him only. So this imagination of the Supreme Lord itself is a great miracle. So it is really, if you go on thinking that we can't able to understand what will happen and how will happen, everything is miracle.
Yes.
So we have to. So if I think like that, definitely we will become least than the dust. I think, Prabhuji.
Exactly. So that's why he's the Supreme Lord. That's why nobody can understand. Not even Brahma, not even Shiva, not even Lakshmi. Lakshmi is actually there, present all the 24 hours next to him, serving him, but still he cannot. That's why one of the acharyas, the Haridasas, he has framed this one song, very nice song. He says, I think I have sung this also before. So it's a wonderful song. Tiliyado ninnata ತಿರುಪತಿಯ ವೆಂಕಟ ರಂಗ ತಿಳಿಯದೋ ನಿನ್ನಾಟ. So he's telling ತಿಳಿಯದೋ ನಿನ್ನಾಟ, whatever you're playing, whatever you're making us play, we are like puppets and you're the sutradhar. We cannot understand how you are doing this. And he says that how you brought the earth from tusk, from the tusk of a boar as a pig avatar. He came as Varaha, and then you held yourself the Mandara mountain on your the back as a tortoise. So like that unimaginable thing. And even when he had to come as a Varaha avatar, he came from the nostrils of Brahma. Where did he come from? From the nostrils of Brahmaji. So like that unimaginable things he's doing. That is why that is the Lord. He's a Leela Purushottama. He can do anything at his own will. And the first question what you're telling, that Lord, you're telling that Lord is controlling us. Yes, he's controlling us. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says very clearly that I am Upadrushta Anumantacha. I am the overseer, and Anumanta, I am giving the sanction. If you want to do a good thing, I am looking at you. I will oversee your operation. At the same time, I am sanctioning you. But if you want to do a bad thing, if you want to pickpocket somebody, even for that pickpocketer, he gives that sanction. Only then he will do. But what is the condition that he gives? He's overseeing giving the sanction, but he tells that whatever you are doing, it's your karma. You have to face it. I am not going to be affected by it. That's the as Paramatma sitting in our heart, the Lord is sitting as Paramatma, right? Atma and Paramatma. So he's overseeing this and he's permitting also at the same time. But you have to bear the result of it. So what we can understand from this is that he is actually, Lord has created in such a way, he has given one hand, one rope, he leaves us to do some acts. In another rope he holds us. He's pulling us that you don't do by the knowledge. So somebody who is really behind the knowledge, who has the knowledge, can be controlled by the Lord. That means if somebody surrenders to the Lord, we'll be under his complete control, and he will actually direct us. He will actually, control us. But somebody doesn't want to be under the control of the Lord, somebody who doesn't want to do Sharanagati or surrender, if you leave him, he will leave him like this. Okay, you go like a kite, galipata, flying in the air. So as long as the kite is held by the person who is holding it, what will happen to the kite?
It will be safe.
It's a perfect example.
Yeah,
Prabhupada gives this. It will stay there and you can be in control. But the moment you think that, no, I'm going to let loose of the kite, and if he leaves the thread, what will happen to the kite?
You get stuck somewhere.
It will go haywire.
It will go haywire. You cannot control it. It will just go drift in the air and it will fall down somewhere and it will meet its end. So what is the better situation? Whether to be under somebody's control and that to a Supreme Lord control, or left like free?
Under the control
Under
of
the
the
control of Supreme Lord only.
Yeah. So that's how. So Lord is so intelligent, so intelligent. So many acharyas have tried to, understand him. No one is able to understand. So that is his marma. We call it as a mystic. Marma is, is very, very, supreme ability. And at the same time, he also gave us the free will. So actually, he gave us the free will so that we can do our own acts according to our whims and desires. So do you think that is a free will giving is a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing, actually, if you utilize for the service.
Yeah. So that's the same example of the Anumanta, Upadrushta Anumanta Cha. So because he gave that goodwill, the free will, so we are eligible, we are able to take our own actions. But if you are intelligent, you will take the right action. If you are not intelligent, you will take a wrong action and you will suffer for it. So that way, Lord is not coming in our way, in our activity. But somebody who comes to this understanding, yes, Lord, you are the controller. I want to be under your shelter. I want to be under your control. What all needs to be done? I have to chant your holy name. I have to do some activities. I have to, dress you. I have to feed you. All these things, if I'm able to do, but if I'm protected, so devotees take that option, and they always want to be under somebody's control, either in the spiritual world through a guru or a senior devotee, or ultimately the Lord. So this way, we can understand the Lord's magnanimity. Actually, is by giving us a free will, it is more magnanimous. Because tomorrow, if suppose Lord were to control all of us, then even if we do something, who will be held responsible?
We ourselves.
No, we ourselves, yes. But if he's under his control, and if we do something, we will not be able to do, but it will be the responsibility will go to the Lord.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
People will say,
Yes,
the observer will say, oh, Lord should have controlled you. And the same example of the nose, the rope to the nose of the animal. And if that control is not there, and if it goes wild, so the blame will come to that person holding. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. But if the Lord controls us, then nothing wrong we will do. No? It's because of our free will only we are doing.
Yes, that is there. That's what that we should be in the Satyuga. That will happen in Satyuga because 100% of mode of goodness. But right now we are in Kali Yuga. Mode of goodness is 78%, and so we are whatever we want to do. Everybody wants independence. Everybody wants freedom. So that way, whole world is turning out, and most entities are on the same platform. 99.99% of the people who are there all want independence, enjoyment, and finally they will suffer. And the more this entanglement is there, the more Lord also will have, the Kali Yuga will go for a long time.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This discussion, we do not want to stop here. We want it to just go on and on and on. But due to the time constraint, we have to stop here because there is another session which will start at 11 o'clock.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you, all the devotees. Hare Krishna, pranams.
Hare
Pancha kalpatarubhyascha.
Kapatarushta kripa sindhubhyo
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
की जय।
Shila
Prabhupada की जय।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you
Thanks,
so
thanks.
much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai,
Hare
jai.
Krishna to all.
Hare.
Thank you,
Shall I
Mataji.
end the session, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.